Ready to jump into something new? Here are the best 2D platformers to play on PC in 2020. Platforming is one of those genres that has stood the test of time. From the original ladder climbing games of the 1980s to 3D movement a decade later, jumping from place to place has yet to get boring. In fact, new games added each year continue to make it an area to return to, and fans of the genre know that backtracking is always worth doing. So, whether you like 2.5D worlds that spring to life around you, or classic pixel art combat in between your leaps, you're bound to find a platformer to play. If you're new to the channel, hello! We're glad you've jumped on board. For more videos all about games, make sure you subscribe to Logitech G, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a video. So, let's drop into the list of the best 2D platformers to play in 2020. We have Carrion up first to get it out of the way before it decides to get hungry and suck us into its maw. This reverse horror is all about breaking out of the 2D science facility you're held in and munching on evil humans along the way. Yes, you get to be the big bad this time, wreaking the havoc rather than stopping it. Even the softest of souls will quickly find themselves happily chasing people who get away to devour them in gory victory. Do I steal in games? No. Will I eat every last scientist in this building? Yes. Unlike other platformers, you're not stuck with two legs to get around. You have a whole writhing mass of tentacles to climb, swing, and slither your way through the lab. Plus, of course, all your deadly upgrades, such as throwing webs out or betentacled dashes to destroy all in your path. It could be argued that the Pedestrian isn't 2D. It has an atmospheric 3D world all around it, but the actual platforming takes place on flat signs. So I'm confidently slotting it in here like a road sign on a fence. This is 2.5D. The platforming is about moving the pieces you walk through just as much as it is about jumping around in them. Some signs are about getting from A to B, where you solve puzzles within, whereas others take careful rearrangement to make sure you can even get through. The platforming is simple, with the focus on puzzles to bring the difficulty, and each level it definitely ramps up as buttons, multiple doors, and electricity mean you need to think about more than just where your little friend is going next. But the ever-changing city around you means you can't help but wonder where that might be. My Friend Pedro answers an eternal, almost existential question. Would you do whatever a sentient banana told you to do? Especially if that involved diving into all manner of murderous situations in slow motion and hoping you don't get pierced by a stray bullet. My Friend Pedro is a unique flavor of side-scroller, equally obsessed with jumping as its peers, but also at pace with the fact that it's also a John Wick simulator. This is a platformer that lets you hurtle into goon headquarters with dual pistols, taking down villains with balletic grace, and enjoying the scenery at the same time. Or it's at least like that once you've practiced for a long time. As you'll find out in Matt and Louise's Let's Play, in which Louise discovers that it's really not easy to make this kind of action look effortless.
Prime split kill. You're going to jump, obviously jump.
I'm going to jump, and then I'm going to wait. Oh, I should have waited. That did not work. That did not work.
I would love to see an action film where it's just moments like...
It's just me constantly messing up.
You may have thought Carrion was the bloodiest 2D can get, but now you've seen Blasphemous. If it's not the enemies exploding into a mist of gore, it's the gothic backdrop dripping red onto your path. Yeah, turns out eternal damnation is pretty brutal, but this is your chance to free yourself from the curse. Set in Custodia, it combines action platforming in a nightmarish world with hack-and-slash combat that makes you feel retribution in every swing. Explore the world, upgrade attacks, and beat down gargantuan bosses in the best helmet ever made. Seriously, you can't feel anything other than divine retribution in a hat like that. Religious imagery and lore oozes from every stone, deepening the already intriguing story. It makes you want to stop and take in every horror you see, but, you probably shouldn't stay too long.
As my last wish, before it is too late for me, let me feel that pain.
Not all battles need to be as gloomy as Blasphemous. Indivisible pits you in uber-colourful combat. It throws you right into a hand-drawn anime world that you know nothing about other than you want to join. And for a 2D edition, it feels like you could step out into that world at any moment. It is living and breathing and beautiful. Then you have your band of fighters, who Ajna can absorb and cool on whenever a giant spider drops in or a living tree gets angry. With over 20 fighters to join your side, you can create your ideal battle style, whether that's swinging a huge sword or blasting fire. Oh yeah, nice and crispy.
So I had to quiet them down, make them crispy. Crisp them up real good.
Then, of course, you have the fast and fluid platforming where you can speed your way through the environment, really feeling like you've been training for this since you were a kid. Until, of course, a wall jump stops you in your tracks. But usually, you're looking badass.
This is training, Ajna. If you'd been paying attention, you wouldn't have gotten hurt.
I was paying attention. I just didn't expect a cheap shot from my dad.
Combat is rarely predictable or fair.
Despite being a 2D platformer, Trine feels very alive. Every level twists out to a different horizon beside you, filling with trees and mountains, or horrifying wolves. You know, stuff to put on a postcard. But it's not just a beautiful world to inhabit. Puzzling your way through each level is what keeps us heading back to Trine. You use everything from light to magnets to solve your way through it. And like the games that came before, each adventurer is a key component to moving magical boxes just right, grappling across daring gaps, and, well, smashing things. Plus, you can invite up to 4 friends to take on each role and learn the hard way that it is much easier doing everything yourself. The levels also reflect the added help and get harder, which means you can try out new challenges as you go. They also mean you can watch your friends fall in the spikes. Infinitely satisfying.
The prince ran off.
Then we must follow him.
I say we knock him unconscious and carry him back to the Astral Academy.
Katana Zero is a fast-paced action platformer where every move makes you feel like a god. A god of what, you ask? Flashy swordplay? Beer bottle throwing? Cosplay? All of the above. You speed through 2D levels with colourful pixels that make a dystopian world look seriously appealing, taking out various styles of goons one by one as you go, or 3 at once. One hit is a kill, so you need to be speedy, only stopping occasionally to pet a cat. Nice kitty. Or hide when a contract asks you to keep the bloodshed minimal just the once. But usually if you see an enemy, it's up to you to stop their next breath before they even notice that you blasted into the room. Use a slash of your sword, a kick from behind a door, or throw all those things you just found. I'm sure they won't be missed. Few games make failure so fun, but as a roguelite, Dead Cells is all about dying and watching the green goo bring you back ready to try it all again. Each time you rush back out to see what the procedural generation has blessed you or cursed you with that time. And like others on this list, 2D has never looked so good, or so creepy than the seemingly never-ending castle you fight through. The platforming has a Metroidvania-style element where you need to upgrade your skills before going to new areas. Or you can gun straight for the boss just to die if you really want to. No one is stopping you. Each area feels unique and poses different challenges, but also offers up new skills and weapons. With 90 to choose from, including traps, sword, bows, and magic, you're sure to find something that gels with your undead character. Oh yeah, just look at that. If Ori and the Blind Forest made you weep in the first 5 minutes, you're not alone. And the follow-up from Moon Studios is equally happy to pluck at your sensitive heartstrings. Ori and the Will of the Wisps follows the titular, adorable, luminous sprite as he becomes separated from his new owl buddy, Ku. Atmospheric Metroidvania leaping and climbing doesn't come much better than this. Every step through this colourful world is accompanied by a brilliant emotional soundtrack, and despite its often unforgiving nature, like the best platformers, Ori is never unfair and only ever requires better dexterity. It's also handy at letting you know you aren't ready for an area by dropping fiendish enemies to make poor Ori retreat with his tail between his legs. Emotional, beautiful, and constantly with an air of, ooh, I'll just see where this takes me. Ori and the Will of the Wisps is another masterful platformer from Moon Studios. Just when you thought you died enough, the ultimate 2D platformer roguelike gets its full-on sequel. Hello, Spelunky 2. Well, sure, I guess I didn't have any other plans for the rest of the year. This perfectly timed, jump-demanding follow-up is even bigger than the original. Anna, Spelunky, and pals, yes, that includes an adorable sloth who you are going to kill far too many times to feel comfortable with, head to the moon for even more deadly trap avoidance. Once again, there's more snakes, treasure, and bats that you can shake a rope at, but this time around, the randomly generated areas come in even more varieties and are full of, you guessed it, even more ways to die. Prepare to lose hours and to teach yourself once again that patience is a virtue. So those are the best 2D platformers you can play on PC. Let us know in the comments which games make you ready to give up 3D, and if you enjoyed, give this video a like. For more videos on amazing games you should play, subscribe to Logitech G, and hit the notification bell so you never miss when another video drops down from a platform and onto your screen.